Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk to you about a slightly controversial topic, which is there are steroids that are still legal and are still sold on the supplement market that a lot of people don't know about, and I would like to bring to your attention. One quick note before I get this video underway: I am not natural, as you probably have assumed from my past videos if you haven't seen them, and what I'm about to talk about in this video. Now, I have a complicated history as far as my medical history and why I am on testosterone replacement therapy currently, and I can talk about that in a story time if you guys would like. But before we begin, please remember I am not a doctor. I do not pretend to be a doctor. I am not your doctor. Please talk to your doctor about anything I talk about in this video if you want to use any sort of supplements that I ever reference in any of my videos. I also wanted to make clear that I do not encourage the use of illicit substances, nor do I want people to go around taking any sort of supplement without logical precedent to do so, with their doctor's permission, and without substantial research behind their decision. So, without further ado, please enjoy the video. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, there were things brought onto the market called pro-hormones. They were essentially just steroids with extra bonds connected to them that would be chopped off by the liver and create an active steroid. Those were taken off the market. The marketing of those pro-hormones was that they would turn into a steroid inside of your body. This was actually the case, but more so because there was an added bond that would get cleaved off by your liver. They were extremely liver toxic, and they were actually the throwaway steroids that didn't make the cut when steroids were being used for medical use when they were originally being designed. Now, what did not get banned was DHEA. DHEA is a so-called precursor hormone because it can turn into estrogen and testosterone and a few other types of hormones downstream in the body. DHEA is often used in the anti-aging community. Another community that uses DHEA is actually women who take oral birth controls or birth controls in general. Those women's sex drives is often impacted because they are being given Basically, they are shutting down their system by being given exogenous hormones, but they are not replacing the testosterone that is needed for their sex drive, because sex drive testosterone is responsible for every person's sex drive, including women. So when women take an efficacious dose of DHEA, they can get the amount of testosterone that their body would normally produce, thus making them have normal sex drives again. This is why women that go on birth control will often lose their sex drives from being on these exogenous hormones. DHEA in and of itself is not actually that interesting of a hormone. It does that pretty interesting effect in women, but in men it mainly tends to turn into estrogen. Now, that's not really a potent effect that men want if they don't have some sort of estrogen deficiency, but some fancy chemists learn how to manipulate the molecule to become, yet again, steroids in the body. Now, there are three main ones that I'm going to be talking about today, and I actually have them here because I've taken them before. So the first one I'm going to talk about is what they call 4-andro. 4-andro is so-called the precursor to just straight up normal testosterone. Now, it can turn into estrogen from there, and it actually has a high potency to turn into estrogen, thus making it a wet steroid, one that has a lot of estrogenic side effects. Now, the other two I want to talk about are 1-DHEA, 1-andro. All of these can be called by the number and then andro or DHEA. And this one is supposed to turn into 1-testosterone in the body, which is not a naturally occurring hormone and can have some nasty side effects. Another one is 19-nor-andro or 19-nor-DHEA, which is very similar and a precursor hormone to what would be known as decadurabolin, also known as nandrolone. All of these compounds have inherent risks. One of them has a particular risk, which is the 1-andro, which is supposed to be a precursor to 1-testosterone in the body, which I am not particularly fond of, except for its effects are very potent in the body and it has great muscle building effects. So let me go through the side effects before I go through said benefits. Side effects can basically be anything you can attribute to the steroid-like compounds that they are supposed to turn into in the body. That is essentially what they're going to have to do to the body, and you can add the side effect of having possible liver damage or stress simply because you are absorbing a foreign substance that can get processed in the liver, since it is similar to an oral steroid. Now, it is not 17-alpha alkylated, which means that it's not a sort of knife that cuts through the liver as something like a normal Dianabol or one of the steroids that's like Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger would take. Now, side effects are including but not limited to gynecomastia, or the development of female breast tissue. That is especially occurrent with the 19-nor-andro, since it can be inherently progestogenic, and the 4-DHEA, since that can turn into estrogen. It also can cause erectile dysfunction due to a lack of estrogen if you were to take just the 19-nor-andro, and if you were to take just the 1-testosterone without having an estrogen base. Estrogen bases are extremely important when taking anything such as a STARM or a steroid cycle, because you need estrogen in order to have a sex drive and muscle building effects. Erectile dysfunction can also occur due to post-cycle crash of all of these, which you will most likely have if you are doing a cycle. Now, a cycle is when you are natural or you are off hormones. You take these, and then your body has all these exogenous hormones now. Your body is no longer producing hormones. It so-called crashes. And now, when you stop taking them, your body has to boot back up and start producing its own hormones again. Acne. This is always a common one with any steroid, and it can be on the face or the body. Hair loss. Very common with things like DHT-derived steroids. Now, these in particular are not, but hair loss is always attributed as a side effect to any steroid. Possible liver toxicity. I encourage discussion on whether these actually have liver toxicity, but the thing is, since they are a monoprofile and they do go through the oral route, I personally have to assume that there is some level of liver toxicity. Now, 1-testosterone has the side effect of having some sort of kidney toxicity, which is not common with normal steroids or other prohormones. And I found that when I was doing the research on it, and there was one study of 17, I believe, males, weight-trained males who took the steroid, or should I say prohormone, because it's technically a pre-hormone, and ended up with kidney toxicity following in their blood work, which is dangerous and not common. There's only one other steroid, which is a very dangerous steroid, known to do this. Left ventricular hypertrophy, this is with all anabolic steroids and SARMs, is the enlarging of the left ventricle of the heart, meaning your heart will essentially become lopsided. Having a small amount of left ventricular hypertrophy is actually healthy, meaning a small amount of growth on the left ventricle. But the reason why it's not healthy when you take steroids is it is exacerbated. Now, that is common with steroid use. Thicker blood is also common with steroid use, as well as lower sperm count, because your body is naturally shutting down. You also have to note that testicle shrinkage will also be a factor unless you are using something like HCG that will keep your LH levels essentially going. It's synthetic LH, for those of you who don't know. Now, comparatively, I want to note that the benefits are shorter than the side effects, but I want everyone to be able to make their own decisions with their doctor, and that is why I'm leaving this an open forum for people to talk about with their experiences. Benefits include steroid-like gains in muscle. Now, this is the main reason most people are going to use these compounds, as well as when they're trying to lose weight to keep the muscle that they already have. They will also improve endurance for those who are long distance athletes or, competitive in cardio aspects. And reason being is partially going back to that thicker blood. It can improve your oxygen carrying capacity in your blood. It will also most likely, excluding possibly the 19-nor-andro, excluding this one because it can have a prolactin-based effect which can lower sex drive. All the other ones could possibly raise your sex drive. It could also possibly improve reaction times, which has been noted in increasing synthetic steroid hormones or anabolic androgenic steroids in men. Improved reaction times were noted. However, those were not tested in any sort of pre or pro hormones. Now, you can also expect denser bones, as that tends to happen when you take these, but that would be more noted amongst people who have weakened bones, people who already have male, hormones and such, who take this would most likely not notice any sort of effect with bone density. And the last one I want to note is possible enhanced all-around drive. Now, what do I mean by possible enhanced all-around drive? So it's noted that testosterone and testosterone-like analogs can actually improve your drive to do everyday tasks and things. How some people note that maybe when people take some sort of stimulant, they feel like they need to get things done. In a way, some people note that same effect with testosterone because it makes their body more efficient at using the energy that they already have. Now, this is more noted in men who have a decrease in testosterone and start taking it, or people who have a naturally low testosterone and start taking these hormones. There are other synthetic versions of Andros or DHEAs, which are pre and pro hormones, or manipulated DHEA from its original structure. I do not know much about them, so that is why I'm mainly sticking to these three. You can typically apply most things to that, except for possibly 7-keto DHEA, which I don't think has any steroid-like effects to my understanding at all. Unlike SARMs, these are technically a white market supplement. White market meaning they are sold and done completely legally and for human consumption, while SARMs are sold on the gray market, where they are not technically for human consumption and therefore are not supposed to be consumed by humans but can still be sold for research purposes. These are not for research purposes. These are intended to be taken by people and be sold by supplement companies for people. They are supposed to be regulated to people over the age of 18. Now, I don't know of anyone who would actually card someone at a supplement store, but I would encourage anybody that is thinking about doing these or using these to at the very least, be over the age of 18 before trying anything like this. Because, as I addressed, all of these side effects are extremely potent and can be life-changing. The acne alone could be life-changing, considering many people develop cystic acne after starting things like steroids. I personally did not have any of those side effects, and I also weighed the options of what I was doing, as well as I used ancillaries such as N-acetylcysteine and TUDCA to try and mitigate any effects that these would have on my body. So there you have it, folks. These are the legal steroids in the United States that you can buy over the counter, and you can even buy online. They are white market, not gray market or black market, and they are completely legal for those over the age of 18. Now, as I said before, please don't do this if you are too young. Most people would recommend you be over the age of at least 21. Now, I'm not anybody's parent. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to tell you to get your doctor's blessing before you do any of this sort of thing, because anything that you can do with these is very dangerous. That is going to be it for me today. If you are on Rumble, please follow and hit that Rumble button. If you are on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And as far as that goes, guys, I'll see you next time.